Welcome back to K-Ratio's Week in Preview. I'm Kyle Littner and I'm here today to give you actionable insight for the future, not recap the past. Now, as you can see from the new set, we are under lockdown, which means unfortunately our topic again will be coronavirus, but we're going to keep this away from global settings. We'll try and give you a roadmap for how you can better navigate this volatile week ahead inside of the domestic supply chain. So as it currently stands, record volumes throughout the country persist, and these elevated levels will remain for this week, but begin to taper off as the week closes due to forced shelter-in-place actions that are spreading throughout the country, and the front-loaded demand for basic necessities winds down. What will remain from a volume standpoint will be drastically different than typical supply chain flows. As we've noted before, import volumes at port cities has been almost non-existent, as has the demand for those goods. With all efforts to restock shelves inside grocery stores, markets with a large distribution center or warehousing presence have become the go-to markets for growth at the expense of typical major markets. For example, since March 1st, the Stockton market has seen a volume increase of 31%, Columbus, Ohio up 35%, and Harrisburg is up an astounding 58%. All of this comes at the expense of major markets like Chicago and LA, where market share has dropped 11 and 20% respectively in the same time frame. Now, business is still elevated in these cities, but not at anywhere near the same pace as it is in those other markets. This has created an interesting dynamic and one that's driving even greater instability and volatility into the supply chain. Since this is non-standard volume, carriers are falling off from their dedicated contract business as it becomes harder and harder to maintain any sort of uniformity on their load plan. This has caused rejections to explode higher, giving us a cascading effect of load cancellations. You can expect cancellations to remain elevated all week long despite any downshift in volume, as carriers simply have no reasonable idea of where or even when dedicated loads will be tendered. All of this new spot business will have to be repriced at a new equilibrium. It's this new repricing that will cause headaches and strains for all of us. So here's one very useful, easy tip to follow to help ease that burden. Place extra emphasis, more so than normal, on the destination of the load. Finding a truck in the origin is going to be your easy part. It's where that truck ends up that's going to cause the biggest influence to price. And we've all heard stories about drivers refusing to head to cities with large infection rates, but it goes beyond that. If you're a truck destined for an area that might not have a lot of business, you're going to demand a premium for that load. Easiest way for you to see all of this is to pull up a map or a watch list inside of FreightWaves Sonar that shows market share or volume and the changes to those metrics either daily or weekly. Think about this. We're pulling relief efforts from very specific markets, but their destinations will be nationwide. With production for many items halted everywhere, that truck might have to deadhead hundreds of miles to find its next load, and because of that, they will demand a large premium for that load. Nobody wants to head to any of these markets you see in white. The ones in blue are the ones with all of the volume, so pay attention to when those two match up. The U.S. supply chain has become a dynamically changing environment with almost hour-to-hour updates. The best you can do is try and keep yourself current with every new development. We'd like to hear what you're doing to stay abreast of every single situation, so leave your feedback in the comments below. Additionally, we promise to do our part to keep you updated with every single new twist and turn, so follow us on LinkedIn or check us out at k-ratio.com for more information on freight futures, freight intelligence, and dynamic pricing even in an environment like this. Thank you again for watching.